Boom! Lightning split the sky, rain lashed down. I'm James, and this was no ordinary storm. This storm was alive. It crackled with a strange energy. Something bad was coming. The wind howled. It whipped through the buildings, tearing at signs. The air grew cold, so cold it felt like icy fingers gripping your skin. A shiver ran down my spine. Something was terribly wrong. The city, usually bustling with life, was now a ghost town. Everyone had disappeared inside, seeking shelter from the storm. Little did they know, a far greater danger lurked in the shadows. From the heart of the storm, a shape emerged, a skull. But it wasn't just any skull. It was gigantic, formed from shadows and mist. Burning red eyes glared out from its hollow sockets. The skull phantom demon had arrived. It let out a deafening roar, a sound that shook the very foundations of the city. Buildings trembled, windows shattered. The ground vibrated with each thunderous step the skull phantom took. Panic seized me. I had never seen anything so terrifying. This was beyond a nightmare. This was real, and it was happening now.
Run!
It was Jane, her face pale with terror. People poured out of buildings, fear etched on their faces. The skull phantom hovered above the city, its shadow swallowing everything in darkness. Screams filled the air. The demon was attacking. It breathed out waves of dark energy, incinerating everything in its path. Buildings crumbled into dust. The air reeked of fear and destruction.
We are under attack. I've called in the army, the navy, even the Boy Scouts.
But it was no use. The skull phantom was too powerful. Its dark magic tore through their weapons like they were made of paper. Hope seemed lost. Then, a murmur rose from the crowd. A desperate hope. They chanted a single name, a name whispered in fear and awe.
The beast! Release the beast!
Deep beneath the city, in a prison cell forged of solid rock, sat a being of immense power.
He was their only hope.
The beast!
The guards, their faces ashen, fumbled with the keys.
They knew the legends, the stories of the beast's ferocity.
With a deafening clang, the cell door swung open.
A low growl echoed from the darkness within, sending chills down their spines.
The city's last hope was about to be unleashed.
Two glowing eyes pierced the gloom of the cell. A hulking figure, shrouded in shadow, rose to its full height. He was enormous, his muscles rippling beneath scarred skin. The beast stepped out of his cell. Chains, once strong enough to hold a titan, now hung loosely from his wrists, snapping like thread as he moved. His eyes blazed with a fearsome light. His roar shook the very foundations of the prison, a sound of raw power and fury. He was ready to face the skull phantom. The fate of the city, perhaps the world, rested on his shoulders. The city lay in ruins. Smoke and ash filled the air, obscuring the once bright lights. Buildings were reduced to rubble. The streets, once teeming with life, were now eerily silent. The survivors huddled together, their faces etched with despair. They had witnessed horrors beyond imagination. The skull phantom's attack had been swift and brutal. The air crackled with a strange energy, the remnants of the skull phantom's power. Fear hung heavy in the air, a suffocating blanket of dread.
I stood on a piece of rubble, my voice hoarse but determined. We've lost so much, I cried. But we can't give up hope. We need a hero.
My words echoed through the shattered remains of the city. People looked up, a flicker of defiance in their eyes. They had lost everything, but they still had their spirit.
The beast is our only hope, someone shouted.
A surge of anticipation rippled through the crowd. All eyes turned towards the east, where the beast was locked in a fearsome battle with the skull phantom. The fate of the city, maybe the world, hung in the balance. The beast, our last hope, faced the skull phantom demon. It was a battle of titans, a clash of unimaginable power. The ground trembled beneath their feet. The air crackled with energy. The outcome was uncertain, but one thing was clear. The very survival of the city depended on the beast's victory. We could only watch and pray, our hearts pounding in our chests. The beast, a symbol of both terror and hope, was all that stood between us and annihilation.